Hey, what's up, fellas? Just taking a little break here. Thought I'd sit down and do some editing on this last little bit of footage I have for you guys on this blower burner. And kind of the subject that we've been discussing the last couple of weeks is blowers versus air compressors. And the reality of the matter is, a blower is not better than an air compressor. And of course, there are two parties in the waste oil burner world. Some people think compressors running constantly is a bad deal. But the reality of the matter is, to get the performance that you see with my air compressor style burners, you need to use more electricity on a blower than you do the air compressor. We are about to observe what 1500 watts worth of blower electricity does to one of these flames. Now, all you guys have seen my silicon carbide burners on high velocity mode with an air compressor. It uses about 1200 watts. So let's take a look at this real quick. Okay guys, so the main problem with these oil pump atomizer nozzle type burners is that they do not have a high turn down setting at all. You can't turn them down. You can turn them off and you can turn them on. That's it. Once you start to try to adjust the power of one of these things, the atomization required for optimum combustion is no longer available. We all know how spray nozzles work. You have to adjust the spray nozzle to run at lower settings. So we're going to turn the air way up on this thing here and see what happens. I just wanted to show that it can burn. I have managed to get it to burn at a couple of different settings here, but nonetheless, this is high velocity mode with about 1500 watts worth of blower power. We are combusting all of the fuel. There is no spray, there is no smoke. It's pretty much acting like a jet engine at this point. Pretty powerful flame inside of there. One heck of a vortex going. I just wanted to share this footage with you guys to kind of talk about the subject of these atomizer burners, because a lot of people have been asking me to build a burner that doesn't require an air compressor. And I'm here to tell you, they're just not worth it. They're good for on-off applications, and you have to know the exact power demand of the system you want to deploy it on, because you can't turn it up or down. For instance, I was going to be building a boiler with this particular burner, but in the event it starts to boil too rapidly, we won't have any way of turning the flame down very much. We're stuck with it set on high, and that's it. So that is the biggest downfall of the blower burners. They do not have a turn down ratio at all. You can't turn them down. So that's just one of the interesting attributes that I learned throughout this course of experimentation, is that the air compressor is not that bad of a deal. And I'm here to tell you, I was a carpenter for 20 years before I started this company, and we would run air compressors on the job site 8 to 10 hour days, 6 days a week, all year long. And some of those air compressors last for about a year running at that extensive amount of operating rate. So this whole fear that you're going to burn up your air compressor is unfounded. The misguided belief that the air compressor is using more air than an air compressor, also completely misguided. We just sat there and seen 1500 watts we're pushing on this burner when we could have been throwing 1200 watts from an air compressor into it. And yes, we could turn it down and all that, but I'm not in the business of moderate performance burners. I'm trying to help people melt bricks of cast iron, blocks of aluminum, and blocks of copper and all that stuff. So, and dry things out. I sell a lot of burners for drying applications. I'm not all just Forge and Foundry burner here, but I kind of felt like this burner put the whooping on me, so I wanted to go ahead and mess with it one last time and get it working, because in the last couple times we've seen it, it wasn't burning all the fuel. It was sputtering these little sprays out and all that jazz, and I knew we could make it work, but it's just not workable for the project that we were going to implement it in. So just thought I'd post this anyway, kind of get a discussion going on blower versus air compressor. I am a firm believer that blowers, they suck, literally. I hate them. I'm not going to be using them anytime soon.
Dinner time.
All right, now so let's talk about cost for a minute. The blower that I am using to run this system is a $300 some blower, guys. Now I could have went to Harbor Freight and bought a 2 horsepower air compressor for 130 bucks. So even cost wise, these blowers are more expensive than air compressors. I just got done watching a video a couple of hours ago. A guy spent $1,000 on his blower and $200 some on a VDF speed control. And yeah, that is an extremely high cost. I mean, these blowers, I don't know why the blower community thinks the blowers are better than air compressors. I've done a lot of testing with both. If you have an application where you just want to turn it on in one setting and that's it, then yes, they're okay for that. They are. If you want to melt some metal, some cast iron in a foundry, forget about it. A blower system is, in my opinion, not an efficient way to do that. You need an air compressor, something to get the job done quick. Why take an hour to melt a pot of aluminum when you can do it in 3 to 8 minutes with my system? And I'm not like trying to sell you something here. I'm just saying I use air compressors. I use high velocity burners, and those enable you to get the job done faster. With, you know, maybe you'll use the same amount of fuel, but there's a time aspect to it. These things are loud too. So anything you can do to reduce the actual time required to heat that stuff up is going to benefit you. I know for a fact that the blower motors don't get as hot as the air compressor motors just based on the way the air mixes and the way the fuel is atomized. The fuel is atomized far better with these air compressor systems. So you're getting a hotter burn in a shorter time in a smaller area. You don't have a big fireball shooting out the top of the foundry. So that's my 2 cents. I just kind of posted this to talk about that a little bit because there's a divide in the waste oil burner community, and I have found my name coming up in the waste oil burner forum for Foundries a lot lately. They're not a fan of me at all. These guys hate me. It's hilarious. Not sure what it is, and I don't care. That's just funny. Maybe it's because they like blowers and they hate air compressors. That's what I think it is. Anybody who has a blower hooked up to their waste oil burner hates me with a passion, dude. You ought to see the smack that they post online about me. It's hilarious. I got this one guy going around telling people I'm bamboozling my customers. Pretty funny stuff. So I paid him a little visit though. Let him know how I felt about the whole bamboozle thing. I'm sure I'll be hearing back from him pretty soon. I just wanted him to show me the video he proclaims as proof of me bamboozling. I'd like to see this one. I'm sure it's quite entertaining. I don't think it exists, but let's see if he produces a video. I'll show it to you guys if he does. So, at any rate, it's just funny to find yourself in the middle of the internet like that, getting bashed in, and getting your skull bashed in by some guy. Okay, I'm shutting up. Back to the subject. Let's check out these last couple of clips of this thing, of me doing some various experimentation. The last video we did, I was kind of agreeing with some of you guys. This is definitely a failure. This burner was a failure. We did get it up to par here, but like I said, I need to be able to adjust temperature on the application we are implementing this equipment on. So this is out of the question. We still haven't even taken this thing apart yet. I am going to do one more video on this and compare it to an air compressor style burner, and we're going to show the difference with power consumption and everything, guys. I really think we're going to kick this thing's butt, but I don't foresee myself building too many more of these. Maybe I will. But like I said, the atomizer nozzle itself has to be adjusted to adjust the flame on one of these burners for the most part, to get complete combustion. Those yellow flames you see, that flame's about 1900 degrees, boys, so you ain't going to be doing too much cast iron melting with that crap. So, it ain't worth it. That's my 2 cents. Alright, so here's a look at the device turned down on low. We can see it's not complete combustion. Just unacceptable. We would actually have to turn that nozzle to tighten up the spray pattern to get it to run properly at this setting. Here it is on medium. You can see we're getting complete combustion, but it's a pretty lousy yellow flame. That yellow flame ain't going to do too much good other than carbon black the heck out of anything it touches and just make for a big mess. I wouldn't call this a good foundry or forge burner at all. It does look cool, it is loud, and it would be good for certain drying applications and things like that, sand drying and stuff like that, but we can do way better. We're going to turn the air all the way up now, and the fuel. I think the fuel might be all the way on high right here, actually. This is with the blower on high. We're about 1500 watts using I believe it's a 3-stage blower. I want to say that's a 3-stage. I'll have to double check. It's quite the blower. It's like a $350 blower sitting back there. But we're getting an awesome jet engine effect here. We're burning all the fuel. There's absolutely no smoke whatsoever. And it's basically a high velocity flame at this point. So I'm kind of into it. We defeated the burner, but these type of burners still suck and I don't like them at all. Air compressor is so much better. Almost everyone and their mother has an air compressor that does any of this type of stuff. So why not just make some money off of it? Why buy an additional blower to do this stuff when you got an air compressor sitting right there in your shop? It's not going to tear your air compressor up to run it for a while. I've had air compressors that last 2-3 years on a job site if you keep them oiled, and that's running every day, all day almost. So there you have it. I'm out of here. One thing I can say about these type of burners is that any rapid change in airflow will cool off the burner, and because we're relying on radiant heat for our vaporization for the most part, that can be detrimental to operation. So you have to do any adjustments with the air and fuel very slowly so as not to cool off the pre-burner. Again, you're not seeing the true RPMs of this due to the frame rate. It looks like it's every bit of 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs of rotation. So here it is on low. I managed to accomplish a situation where we could run this thing on different settings, but it's just too touchy. Adjusting the throttle on this thing is, I don't know, it's just too touchy. It's kind of like using a shower you're not familiar with or something. I don't know. It's just that you're too far one way or the other constantly. It's just very hard to dial it in. But I am managing to burn all the fuel. I still hate it though. That is so cool. Now the RPMs, the true RPMs are not being shown here because the frame rate's only set at 30 frames